Okay, I'm working on my fourth painting right here. I know it looks really pervy. This is the thing that's incredible, though, is how nature, you get really up close, and it's like the same as our parts. So, anyways, that's just a buttercup up close. No, just get started. And but anyways, it's not a porno picture. It's just a buttercup showing her business. So, and I'm going to do some more phallic ones too. I've got a bunch more canvases coming. I'm on my whole series now. It's funny too, because what was I thinking about? Um, oh, because I was thinking about, the series of different artists and stuff, and how it would be like their dark period, their blue period, or whatever kind of period, that they're in, that is representing. And I was just thinking so much about, since I've been here, it's been about transformation and about the blossom of rebirth. And so, anyways, to me, it seems like a really positive, beautiful period. And I have so many things that to say. It's definitely gonna be all over the place, because there's just too many like little things and too many things. They all just start going together, and they just pop in. I'll start saying something, and something will just pop in. Be like, oh yeah, fuck, man. Okay, so one thing is our weather. We got up and there was a snowstorm, and then I think it did like one of those icy kind of, and then we got the styrofoam, and freaking Stella is doing so good every motherfucking time. She'll be doing so good. She's jumping around, she's playing, she's eating, like demanding 3-4 times to eat a day instead of just, not eating for days. And super playful, and wants to go and do stuff. And then it fucking snows. And then yesterday she kept going out there and eating that motherfucking snow. I don't know why she likes it so much. And I know it's so fucking full of shit. It's just so aggravating. So aggravating. And what is so crazy too is all these people now, Ohio got a lot of people paying attention. And so you have all sorts of people from all around. I don't even know, because the one I just saw was 250 miles from the epicenter. And she was talking about it. She boils water in her house. I don't remember what she said. Something that they've done forever and ever. It's like a family thing forever. And so she did it last week because everybody had a stopped up nose or something. And so then it happened again this week. So she did it and she got the water out, and she said the water was funky for one thing. And then she did it. And then when it's something about it, if your nose is so dry that it starts bleeding and stuff, it's to take away the relief. And I don't know, I think you can put like eucalyptus essential oil and stuff too. But anyways, there's lots of old wives' tales and stuff, and she may have been saying that. I just don't remember right this second. But she said that the pot, when she went in to try to clean it, it had discolored the pot. She tried to clean it, and it was a steel pot, and it pitted it. She said it ruined her pot. It's all pitted, and she can't get the markings out and stuff that is up the sides. And she said it did look kind of funky and brown when it had been boiling for a while. And so, I mean, if the water is eating away a steel pan, we're going and showering in this shit? Like, what? People are still drinking it? Fuck, man. People mix baby formula with it? God damn. Oh, my God. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Because I'm sure I'm sure that's what my daughter is doing. Because she's doing formula. I've tried to say, oh, but my kids just don't listen. They think I'm paranoid. They don't understand. Like, you cannot be dependent on any of this shit. This is a time of independence. They're going to be fucking pulling the rug out from under you. One thing I saw, too, that I thought was very interesting was, I can't remember who it was. I saw a little clip of Mel K, somebody sharing something about Mel K, but I don't think it was her saying it. It was some other clip. And they were saying that all this stuff that's going on, the awakening. So all of us starting to wake up and question things and see they weren't ready. Their plan was 2030. So when we started waking up en masse and they had to start speeding it up, they weren't prepared and they didn't have everything in place. And that's why it's like so much chaos. Well, this is what we're going to, but so much of it is just about being exposed to us. But there is some things, you know, in action we're seeing some of it because that's how it had to go. We had to see some to believe it, to experience it, to get our attention, to pay attention, to realize what is going on here. And so, you know, it all works together like that. But, you know, I thought that was pretty interesting. And it was this was one that was talking about looking glass. And, you know, they were explaining about looking glass is the same as basically having, like, it's kind of like the same as me, only there's people who can do it really, really well. Like, I don't know how well, because I'm not in somebody else's head, so I don't know how well I can do it compared to somebody else. But like I've said, like the remote viewers, you can give some of those people coordinates. They can go into their minds and with those coordinates, go and take their consciousness and find those coordinates and tell you what's at it. So, like, you know, I've seen where, because these are ones that are more being studied and stuff. And this is why they're always looking for us, like in the testing and stuff like that. But because then they get them in these places and control things. But like there's this one girl who I've seen, and she's darker skin, and she really is super cool looking. And when I had seen her, I'm pretty sure it was her. She was like real funky looking with these little, like really long braids and stuff. And she could go into the building. Man, I don't want to credit the wrong person. Maybe a lot of them can do it, but could go into a building, get out paperwork, read what's on the paperwork, give dates, give details, and all sorts of stuff. They use them like spies, kind of. You know, when you start really understanding how this world is built on greed and espionage, and you know, everybody fuck everybody else over just for, you know, a couple, you know, cents in their pocket, and not. It's so weird when it got, you know, when you see really how it even got to this point. Like how people just began chasing money. Allison Coe just put up another one, and she said she's been having all these people talking about trees. And so I started listening to the one this morning. It's pretty just low-key of this girl just talking about the connection that we have with the trees and what happened. And it was kind of like an avatar, and it was like we lived amongst these giant trees, and the trees protected us, and that it was our sustenance. We didn't even need, we fed off the energy of the trees, so we didn't even eat. I mean, there may have been like nuts and berries or something, but we just fluttered around these trees like they was even had wings. But when you think about these trees were giant, like, because now when we see the remnants of these trees, they are, you know, we think they're mountains and stuff, and then when you start taking a closer look, it is a tree cut off. And that's going to be one of my phallic ones that I'm going to do, a tree stump. But anyways, so the with the giant trees, that we would have been really tiny. And this girl she was talking to, she said that she had wings and could just fly around. And you know, it's an energy. Like everything is energy, but we were really dependent on the trees. We were a part of the trees. And I just started seeing like about the flowers and everything, and how we grew, we sprouted from this, and then the trees were protecting us and taking care of us. But then we shoved the trees away because we wanted technology and money. We wanted something, so we began trading the trees to these other beings that started coming to the planet, who wanted the trees because they had great value, and we didn't know the value, and we discarded the trees, we discarded their knowledge, we discarded their protection, and we went on our own. And then the trees want us back. And I've said, like, here, when I came back and was living around the trees, it was like I could feel they just wanted to protect me. I could feel this thing. I talked about it before. And so when she was saying that, I was saying, yeah, it was really trippy. When I came back and started being and thinking of the trees as being my protection. And I liked how they kept me private around, you know. And then they started poisoning them, and then I started feeling the pain of everything that was out here, and that started being, oh man, uh, horrible. Watching them kill, you know, you come out and you start loving the trees, and then they start killing them. It's like but they have been for a long time, and the trees have been ignored and stuff. So, anyways, that was interesting what she was talking about with the trees, because I totally believe that. But it started all the way back. If you go with that story, where the beings that were there started trading what they could because they wanted technology, they wanted what someone else had. Everybody's always wanting what someone else has. And, you know, it just is really just so much to me has been shown to me of like building your own skills and making you have a lot of things. So a lot of things like your Swiss Army knife of skills and hobbies and things that you have are capable of doing. That's what people need to work on is you know, adding to their own stuff. You know, learning how to sew, learning how to cook, learning how to make fires, learning how to forage, learning how to build, all of the things that you really need to take care of yourself. And you can totally see how this is dividing into the artificial and the natural, what is natural and what is connected. And then, you know, when it happens, I think naturally, where you start reconnecting as you're awakening, you start reconnecting. That is, to me, you know, the divide. You have these people who are connecting more and more to hatefulness and technology. At this point, I have so freaking many Christians praying for my salvation. I can't lose. Like, I'm telling you, that is like, it's so crazy. It's like, I think I'm in charge of my own salvation, but thank you. Thank you for your mercy. I know I'm just a lost cause. But they're out, and you know, and even when the comments were people, because I made some videos speaking back to them, and you know, just about like, what in the hell? Like, look at things. You start realizing you're the bully, you know, and what do you stand for? Because that's not what God stands for. God doesn't stand for hate and division and judgment and control. God stands for freedom and nature and natural. And God knows that there is a natural repercussion. There's a natural reverberation. That what you put out will come back to you. That is the karmic balance that, you know, is the energy that you're putting out will always come back to you. It's like it has nowhere else to go. You're the creator of the energy. Then you have to experience and exist in your energy. So it is your energy until, you know, that I think is a part of the transmutation of energy out as you know, as souls. I think though, when you're out of body, when you're not incarnated, that you don't have the same abilities to expand as you do when you come in and incarnate. And that is where you get so much more expansion and knowing and understanding and stuff. But then also, you know, I think that we're so far advanced that we come in and play this game, because I really feel so much about this. There was a bunch of things this morning I was getting where I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much like a game. Like, just the way that you, man, I'm going blank. So, I don't know, maybe it'll come back to me. One of the things that I wanted to say was, I've been fucking sick for so long, and I've been talking about them spraying all these poison and stuff. Now you see all of these people who are all over the place. This girl in Texas, I went in and commented. She was showing all of it that happened overnight, the spraying, and she was going out and wiping off all these cars. They had dust, these big chunky particle things all over them. And so she was wiping out, and I said, you know, watch now, everybody's going to get sick. or have allergies. And so she went to mark it on her calendar, and she said that she was going to watch her symptoms and stuff. And I said, yeah, pay attention, because you're going to see all of a sudden everybody's going to talk about how sick they are. They've got allergies. And some people will die, the people who aren't taking care of themselves. And the rest of us will just keep staying in this stress. Stella will get better, and then right away her ass is kicked again, and then she's down again. And it just is this fucking cycle of just trying to keep going when you're just constantly being poisoned. And it's, a lot. And then plus, though, knowing, like, all the things that I kept saying when I said that this gray powder was out there. That was last year. I was saying there's gray powder all over my car. There's gray powder all over everything. And people kept telling me, that's pollen. And I was like, this is not pollen. And then there was a greenish powder. It wasn't pollen. It wasn't the right time of year. Then there was another one that it was kind of a grayish, maybe like what she was saying, kind of a grayish, rusty kind of color. And then there started being all this slick stuff that kept being there, and like oil spots from water and stuff. Like, it was weird. So, like, there's been this progression and all of these different things. And now seeing all these different people talking about it, that's what I fucking said. And I knew I was in a beta test place. I just knew it, that they were testing something on us. And you know what I think is part of it too, is because this morning it just all of a sudden hit me. Part of this is a social experiment, because we're seeing all these people, and the new sickness, there's always a sickness, a cover up, and the amount of people who are, sick and dying. But when they get sick, they just automatically, do a test, like, do this, do that. I can't believe how many people talk about, like, look, hair loss after COVID. No, it's fucking radiation poisoning is why you have hair loss. It's not fucking COVID. Damn, what the fuck? Now I said that word. So, it's like, man. So, anyways, now I'm all going to be hung up because I said the word. Maybe there's so many words now. But yesterday when that video went on and they flagged it instantly, it wouldn't let it go. And then I appealed it, and then they ended up letting it go back. And then they took the rest of mine, and they're still on there. So, but fuck, I'm not the one bullying. I'm not going around bullying anybody. They're coming and bullying me. And you can't even say, like, call them out and say, you're sitting here saying you're a Christian, but are you really living the law? Are you walking the path? You're walking Jesus' path because he's your way shower? If you're following Christianity, then you should be walking his path. And, it seems like so many people, they don't give a fuck about that. All they want is fucking salvation. All they fucking want is someone to forgive their sins. My sins are forgiven. What? So you think you can go do any old thing, and then Jesus is going to carry all your karma. Just give it, hand it over to me. That's not how it works. That is the most absurd shit. That's what I'm always saying, like, this primitive way of thinking, and then coming in and telling me that I'm so wrong. Like, you say something about reincarnation, oh my God, that's what started all these people on me the other day, is just commenting on that reincarnation video. And then I don't know if I got in some of them their radar, because why are they following me? Because I say this stuff all the time. Then why is it I'm just suddenly being attacked with this? Everyone's praying for my salvation because I'm so lost, and, shut that hag up. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. It's like, man, see what I said, though, in the very beginning, when I very first started this, I said it's all in the receiver. You either are a prophet or you're a crazy person living in the woods, and it's all in the receiver. It's either they're open to the information and it aligns with them, or they're hidden from the truth and they stay in their own dark web of what they've created by their design. If I could explain, like, about soul stuff, and make it make sense, but it's hard. It's more like seeing and understanding. and it's all representative. Everything is representative. Everything is micro macro. Everything is development. Everything is growth and expansion. And so the same way as a child, a baby is born into existence in this reality and goes through the steps to become more and grow, that is the same steps that a soul takes, only it is through multiple different existences, because the expansion is so much huger. It's not just this moment in time that is the expansion. It is all times that exist that is the expansion. And so it is it's like the progression from a soul going from being that energy, just being energy, just out there, like I said, where we have free energy around, just going around attaching, trying to understand what it is. And it has no real definition. It goes by what it feels and how it feels. But oh man, sometimes his hairs go across my nose and itch it to death. And so then, but then some of that energy, I don't know if it's a matter of development in that energy where it starts like feeding you energy. And that is why it's so important for you, all the being, to have discernment and awareness of so many things that it doesn't have discernment and awareness of. And it is, I think it's vital to independence as a sovereign soul to understand when you have other ones talking to you. Like, I'll catch them all the time. I mean, anytime they're taking you in some sort of direction and your mind is going in some sort of way, you got to stop it and say, call it out. It's like your mind can be like overshadowed somehow. It's like it can be hacked. It's like it's a constantly a hacking going on. You constantly have someone talking to you. You have to notice that it's not you, that it's the hacker. And so you have to catch it like a virus and tell it to get on out of here and take its negative or whatever it is. If it's something you just don't want to think about or talk about, then you just can tell it, take that away. But, also recognize if it's somebody who's trying to point out and help you, and so it's trying to point out something that you keep on not wanting to pay attention to. And this is why discernment's important, because then they're trying to help you to point something out so that you can heal it, recognize it, and process it, because we are a processor and we need to process. And so I still gotta go back to this one thing, because the process, I gotta go back because this keeps hanging and keep getting hung up on it. But so on the weather thing, so then so we had the snow, and then I got up and see, it was yesterday. It was weird. I don't know. I don't know. I'm telling you, the more you just get really focused on whatever you're doing, it's more like. It's like you go in and you focus and you just sit there and absorb yourself into painting. That becomes your reality. Like when I come out of that, I don't know where Stella is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what's going on. It's I've been in another reality. And when I go into like a painting reality, say, it's not like I'm going to, the mothership and hanging out or going to some other planet and having a party or something. When I'm in that, it's more like I'm in conversations and being shown things and just talking. It's more like having someone sitting there, like kind of like having a grandparent sit with you and go through photo albums and talk about things and explain things. And so it's a lot of that kind of stuff. Like I was having just like these things like, oh my gosh, I'm painting this flower. What if all of the petals started arguing about the color? Because that's what's going on here. They all start arguing about the color. When you're painting a flower and you recognize that each petal is unique and independent and beautiful in its own, then each petal needs the other petals to give it its form. And so that also is representative in the flower. The bird, there's so much. It's micro, macro. And there's so much like we argue about the color. You know, we don't need to argue about that. We need to all come together. And that was something that was shown to me so far back too, when they were showing me things, and they showed me about the this teapot falling and breaking, and then all of the little fractals being laying on the ground. They forgot they were a teapot, and they all thought they were just broken pieces, and that they had to remember that they are a part of a teapot to get back to bring back the teapot into existence. And then, but they have to see that they're beautiful, not that they're broken pieces. And so they're always like doing stuff like that, like showing you things and telling you things and stuff. So it's not always just going, but when you go in those places, when you're in these, you are someplace different. Your consciousness is not in the same place, like you left the building. Like you know, because even when I'm asleep, I can be aware of the room. You know, I can lay there and be aware, like, oh, Stella's moving. But there is certain times of the night where I will wake up and I'll be like, oh, I thought she was laying right here. So there is times when I do go into a really deep, and I was having some really crazy dreams again, and it does seem again like it's just going, and it keeps showing me things, just showing me things, like they're trying to get me to see something and understand something. The only things that I keep knowing and understanding is the about this development of ourselves and of consciousness and this expansion that we're going through. I still got to go back. I keep skipping it, see, and then I start going in that way, and I can't, because I guess so. The water thing, it's done that a few times where I feel like it's talking to me. You know, it's certain, like, there's so many things, like, it's so crazy. Like, when the TV will say the word right at the same time as in your mind, and all of these different things where you know, like, that they are interacting with you in the physical. You know, when there'll be something like you don't want or something or whatever, and something will suddenly fall and drop, and there'll be a crash. Like, they're always like, just pay attention. Does the thing make you feel good? Is it making you be like, hey, wait, no, that's not right. No, oh, or excited. Like, you know, you can tell, like, by the energy. It's like reading, it's like tuning into the energy, like tuning into a tuning fork or whatever, when they are giving you answers back or whatever. Then, you know, it's just reading the energy. You know, I mean, sometimes something, a loud crash can be excitement too. So that's where you got to, you know, tune in. Like, what are you telling me? Like, are you happy or sad? Am I doing it right or doing it wrong? And there's no right or wrong. There's nothing you can do right or wrong. It's all written. It's all, the whole thing is you to come into, be able to relax as it's all going. That's the thing. It's the mastery of emotions. It's the mastery of the experience, by being able to experience it without being in this panicky anxiety and, you know, traumatic mode all the time. It's like if you had a little machine and you have different modes. We're all always been in this mode, and now it's time to switch modes, try some different modes, and to get control of the being. And so anyways, the weather. So when it was like, at some point it was just became ice outside. It was just icy. And it's kind of a little bit like a slushy, but a lot of ice, like a hard, like I walked out to get a package out of the post box, and it was total ice. And so then what was I going to say about, oh yeah, because so when Stella came in, so it was snow, and then it was kind of melting, and then it became like it was snowing. Like, it went through a whole bunch of different things. Like, there was giant snowflakes for a while, there was these slush things, there was the styrofoam balls. Like, we were going through all the different ones yesterday. Oh my god. And at one point Stella came in, and I was doing something in the kitchen, and Stella came in and she started shaking, and it was like my eyes just went on fire. And I was like, oh my God, what in the hell is on her? And so I took her in and I sprayed vinegar all over her and washed her off. And, you know, that is one thing, like, you got to keep in mind, like, if you have pets and they're going out and walking around, they're tracking this stuff into the houses. It's on their coat. you pet it, then you rub your nose. Like, there's no getting away from this stuff. So don't get like totally hyper. Like, that's what they tried to do with the sickness, is get people so hyper focused on germs. Germs are everywhere. Oh, get the alcohol, get it. It's like, we have to have germs. You can't have a sterile environment. You know, then everything becomes where we can't handle anything. You have to have germs. Like, you have to have a good ecosystem. Like, even inside of us, we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. Like, they use everything has to have the balance, counterbalance. And so we need to have some germs, like, so our body can keep working on building its immune system and building its towards its environment. Which, that was one thing too, that I saw a girl talking about something, and it just like clicked in my head. And I was like, oh, so we're kind of like, we're adapting to these chemicals, because, you know, they do this, it's a slow poisoning, but we're like, our bodies are adapting to some of these things. You know, I think I talked about this before, but I think that it is that that we kind of are. And I think that also throws a monkey wrench in their thing as part of the awakening and stuff. But I think as the social experiment kind of thing over here, so we got all these poisons. We've been being poisoned for a long time, and I've been saying it, and I've been saying how it is, where I'm at is very brainwashed. And you know, I've been talking about this from the beginning, before I even understood. I think I was saying, you know, I think a lot of this has been putting things together, but then realizing, you know, that I'm in this blue area, it's owned, you know, all the stuff, and how mind controlled it is, and how expensive, how progressive, like all of this stuff. And so then when they dump these chemicals and stuff, and then you get ill and stuff, then how many people run down, do a test, do this, do that. Yeah, I think they're looking for that. I just, all of a sudden, it clicked with me this morning. You know, like when I said how they're always looking for these super soldiers, like that has been coming more and more and more. Like, I don't know how any white person cannot see, we're not indigenous here. Like, we're just not. We're made in a lab or something, but we're not indigenous to this place, because there's no white indigenous people, or no people that are that fair skinned that were indigenous. They're all always darker. And I think I think, you know, I believe in the Sumerian tablet stuff, so I believe that there's always been scientists that have been messing with the DNA and messing with all of that stuff, and that they have been, I think at some point, I don't think it was all the way back then. I think that we were probably all darker back then, you know, the natural human beings, not, you know, us in particular, but probably some of us were back then. But I think that everybody was darker. And then at some point, more when it became where they really wanted to control, and where things start going out of balance, that is when I think they started doing something, like they couldn't control some groups or something. And then they started being like, you know, what can we do to, you know, like when somebody, like dog breeders, when they have something in a dog that they don't like, and they start trying to breed it out. And I think it has to do something with the melanin, and I think that is where people got lighter skin. It was the infiltration, I don't know if that's the right word, but of you know, them interfering with the DNA of the beings that were naturally from this place. And so, and I think I think Avatar has so much to do with it. It has with the trees, the cutting down the trees, the big business, the little beings that lived with the big trees, and, you know, totally different exist. Like, I think Avatar is more like our true history, in us being like the blue beings, you know, the natural beings were all more the same, not, it's been the interference or something that they've done. I mean, there's different tribes, like, you know, because you have like the Mongolian, and you have like the Aztec, you have like the, what is that other one? Like there's different ones that there was tribes. Like I think there was like 13 tribes or something. I bet if you went back, that was where there would be 13 like distinct features because of those different tribes. They're of different sizes. They're it's like some are like different tones, but it also it's like a different features kind of. A lot of them have a lot stronger features than others, you know. So anyways, there's just, I think, and that probably was more as an adaptation even, because I think that we are adapting to these chemicals and stuff. And so when you have these people, I mean, it makes us sick. And, you know, we are here having people giving birth to mutants, right? Like all those things happen in a lab experiment. It's just we are one that we just didn't know that we signed up for because it was all done underhandedly the way that they did it. So, but I think one of the things they're watching, though, is the people that they have control over. And I think up here there's a huge amount. And then what I was curious about is how much they're watching those of us who aren't. Like, I get things all the time in the mail, like they're always wanting me to come in to the doctor, my insurance company and stuff. And so, I don't know. I know I have felt a huge push over the last year and a half to go into the doctor. Ever since I went in and I did that lab work, too. And that when I went in and I did that lab work, because what was it? She did the lab work. I think I had to go in to do, like, one of those insurance physical things. Like, they want you to come in and do that thing. And that's the kind of shit they'll say, well, we're not going to pay if you don't go do that. And so I went in and did that, and then she did the lab test, and she was like, well, let's check for Hep C because it's epidemic and all that. And so that's when that whole thing. And when I found out that I had that and healed myself, that was so shocking. I know I say it a lot, but it was shocking because as a nurse, knowing, like, it was shocking. But then with the, and she did those tests, and she told me that, so I went back in and got that. And I don't know if I had to fill out another thing for my insurance, but that was the last time that I went. And they had wanted me to do another lab thing. And I don't know if it was rechecking the Hep C thing. I don't remember what it was. It seemed like she was rechecking something because it seems like it was all around that time. But I went in, and then they said all my labs were all off, and they wanted me to come in and do them again. And that's where I was like, no, there's something going on here. And I even, because, you know, they run the machines. They can set the machine parameters how they want. You know, they can change the machine parameters, and if they get caught, oh, well, it was the QA. Oh, well, you know, it's just the same thing what they're doing with the train. Oh, it was the wheel. Oh, well, then it's going to be the tracks. And, well, then it's going to be the governor. Then they're just going to toss this shit around. That's what they do. That's how they have created the corporation to work, so that they can just, you know, it's like they're playing volleyball over our heads. We're all down here, and they're just tossing the ball over us, you know, playing games. And we're all just sitting there trying to not get hit with the ball. But that is, everything is created to just cover their crimes. And any of us that have gone into to become criminals, they will, you know, move you up the ranks. And I'll tell you another thing. This is something that is, I think, I was on Netflix, and this thing came up, Murdoch, some Murdoch docu-series, Murdoch Murders, I think it's called. And so then I was like, I wonder what crime this is. And I went on and looked, and it was something, I was thinking, man, do I know about this crime? Like, when did this happen? Is this a really old one? It sounds like a really old one or something. And so I didn't watch it. I was like, man, I just don't. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to just feel the pain of somebody's tragedy, you know? And so I didn't watch it. So last night my mom starts texting me, and I don't remember what she was texting about. It wasn't like a big thing. Sometimes she just gets really sick of the bullshit that's going on. And so it's probably more like that. Or I'd send her a TikTok, and she had said something. And so I had asked her what was going on, and she said she's just so sick of that bullshit and the lies and stuff. And Joe and who was the other one? Oh, Buttigieg. She said it's just nonstop on them on the news, them and their bullshit lies. And Buttigieg is coming on the main stage in a big way. Like, I keep seeing him and seeing him. So he's got himself in some crimes for sure, I think. Or he's just really good at gonna bring some bad people to the surface. But to me, it seems like he's probably, you know, and I don't know if I already said this one. Yeah, see, I've got to finish the other one because I want to say something about the pharmacy lady, and I don't know if I already said something about her. But so, anyways, my mom had said about that they were on the news, and she was just sick of seeing it. But she said that she keeps watching about the Murdaugh murders. And I said, well, what is it? I don't know anything about it. I said, I saw there was some docu-series about it. And she said that it was going on now. Like, there's a whole thing. Like, it's all over. This horrible crime, this horrible guy, and all that stuff. And I said, well, I'll tell you one thing. When they're doing something this sensationalized, then you know something else is going on. Because, I mean, anytime they bring up this big sensational, when she starts saying that that's all she's watching and stuff like that, there's probably a lot of people. And somehow they always find intrigue, and they're always pulling us in with this intrigue of murder and, because we're all just like, what? How can this happen? So we all go in to watch. And then that's what they get everybody to do. And so the only things I know of that's going on right now is like, one of the things is Supreme Court is about to hear about reinstating the T guy. So I don't know all the stuff that's been going on with that, because that's all stuff that they keep hidden. So I don't know if they're going to reinstate or if it's just another one of these stupid fucking cases that is showing the corruption in the judicial. Right now we've got a whole fucking huge list of judicials coming out that, of course, what did I say? I said that all the fucking things with the real estate. I said there's some shady shit with the real estate. And then here it comes, the list with all these judges and all of these county affiliates, whatever, these county seats that have signed off on cartel purchase, a totally illegal scam thing going. This one was in Arizona, if you want to look up about it, but it's going to be everywhere. I mean, it just has been one of the things that they've just made so clear to me. Like, the things that they really make clear to me is like, I know that, when they keep telling me or showing me stuff about real estate things and just the development and just really coming to the thing with, this is the net. They're netting us in. What in the hell? Why would this guy be having fucking this land all this time out here? It's just a bunch of fucking, trailer parks and way out, bunch of drug addicts and immigrants and stuff out here, a bunch of poor people. And this rich guy has all this land up going up the hill or something, and then suddenly he wants to just develop it. And then it just so happens that all these developers all around the place suddenly want to develop way out, 30 miles from town, 30 miles. We're going to just build this huge subdivision out here. And it's all for the changing the zoning. They're doing it all. I'm seeing so many more things. They're doing something about changing the zoning so that they can say that they can take our land, take our homes, and it can be in the case of anywhere where they feel it's deemed reasonable, because climate change is up on the table. Definitely invasion, definitely chemicals, all the things that they have going are all reasons they can take it, and they put in the paperwork. And how many of these people around me will just submit and say, oh, okay, they said that they can take it. It's like, but they can't. But this is the frustration when you're like the only one awake around the people. It's like so frustrating. So, it's not going to be much of a fight. It's just going to be a retreat out here. So they'll just like, gather up and move to the camps or whatever the hell. It's just been so many noises. Oh my God, just this morning. Like, I feel like there's just planes going over. I feel like there's all sorts of shit. And other people, I've seen other videos of people doing it. It's really creepy because I swear to God, it's always like this. It's night. Like when I am, man, these people are so fucking sneaky. Everything is so underneath and in the dark. They're just fucking creepy, fucking sneaky people. And let me think, because there was so many things that were coming in and I was bouncing all over. It was like, I want to catch that one too. I want to catch that one too. Oh yeah, the lady, I don't know if I had already talked about her, the pharmacy lady, because this was in Canada, and it was a woman, and she was videotaping the person behind the counter, and she was serving her. She had a whole stack of papers, federal, legal documents from judges, and serving this, whatever, their pharmacist lady, and the pharmacist lady just did not have a clue. Like, man, there is so many of these people who have no idea that they are committing serious fucking crimes. Like so serious. Like, they don't even have any clue what they are involved in. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really shocking for some people. I think that's going to be hard for some people, is to see, man, there's going to be a lot of trauma that's about to happen when this stuff flips. I look so forward to the flip because it's going to be good for me. And I know in the long run, it's going to be good for the other people. Like, there's a purpose to it. Even if it seems tragic to us here, their soul is getting something much more than we can understand from it. Because the soul doesn't do things, the soul does things to make itself grow and make itself better. And so it's always expanding. And some people do have to go in and, there has to be dark that works with light. We do have a lot of evil here that we are abound by, but we have to recognize also that, it is part of the life cycles. It's part of the experience. It's part of what the soul experiences for expansion. And there is places out there that there aren't so much darkness as like here. We're just in a place that's a lot of darkness, but like when we finish this game, when we finish this thing that's going to happen, it's like we are going to be knighted, chess masters, like, for the universe. Like, we are the ones that are able to, master this game, not be eaten up by it at this time of this transformation, are going to feel, that mastery. It's going to be, it's like it's going to be well known in the universe. It's like a crowning. I just came up on the thing, this crown thing. So it's like a crowning in the universe for your soul. So I don't know if it's like a big graduation ceremony. I don't know how it's all going to go, but it's going to be a recognition for the people who are able to, go through this. And so much of it has to do with coming in to the game, into the experience of the game, and to forget but you have everything inside of you. That's the thing, is that to remember what's inside of you. It all leads back to the remembering of what's inside of you, because that is where the game changes. Until you can reconnect with yourself, then you're playing a completely different game. You're playing a game of survival. You're playing a game of learning and lessons of, who you are, what you're made of. And then, so I'm just starting the other game. So I can't, I'm just starting it. Just like, it's like this leveling up, and the leveling up. So you have these other things, but, there's also, more challenges, You just like this thing, it was really hitting me yesterday. And it was, I don't even know. It was weird because this song just really, I was listening to classic rock, which to me, everybody should be listening to some classic rock right now, because they fucking were talking about the things that are going on right now. It's crazy. But anyways, in this one song, it was all of a sudden I just kept saying that they don't hurt me, something. And I was just like, I don't know. It sounded so much like a message. Like, it's so weird how much that when you start paying attention, it's not, certain words will stick out, certain things will stick out. Like, you can be doing something, and all of a sudden you hear this message, and then we'll keep saying it over and over and over. And I think I know where it's coming from. I just say, yeah, that's the leveling up. is that like, man, is this going to be like the other? Is this going to be as bad as what it used to be like? You know, am I going to get hurt? And I don't think so. You know, that's always a risk, you know, that we play in this life is, you know, are we going to get hurt? You know, and we can't, you know, hide from life because we fear being hurt. What we have to start looking at is the lessons that we learn from each other, from everybody, you know. But yeah, I see this time that we're going into as being so much about this for the people who are leveling up, who are doing the work, who are pulling themselves free from the paradigms that surround us and beginning to create the world that they want for themselves. I think that we're going into a time that there's going to be so much love, that is going to be such a beautiful experience. And it's going to be super cool to have, you know, partners or tribes or, you know, friends to hang out and feel the love with, you know what I mean? I really think we're going into that kind of time where, you know, sitting out with friends and by campfire and talking and roasting marshmallows and drinking cocoa and just enjoying life is going to be what we're headed back to. I just saw this young guy and he had just moved over to Auburn, so outside of Seattle. 40 minutes he's outside. I'm a couple hours. And he said that he is him and his girlfriend both have good jobs, but that they had to move in with their parents to get a place. And he said that a one-bedroom, tiny little apartment is $1,700. He said, look, it's ridiculous. And he said people are always just telling him, like, well, just buy a house like I did and stuff like that. Which I know I've said that to people when they were complaining about rent. It's like, yeah, but rent keeps going up and mortgages don't as much. But now there's so much interference with that. But back before, but there's been always so much problems with people being able to get down payments and all the loopholes. Because even then, it's just like, okay, then you gotta have a credit score. Then you have to have this down payment. Then you have to have that. Like they just, you know, they make it to where there's just more and more things. Like before, like back in the 50s or 60s, and you just go down there with $10 and say, hey, we want to buy that house on the corner. And they just, you know, sign you up. I don't think it was, well, you still have 30-year mortgages and shit. I think. I don't know. No way. You did not have a 30-year mortgage on a house that cost $6,000. I don't know. Maybe you did. I mean, because you didn't make that much every year back then. So, I don't know. I don't know. I know that the inflation and stuff has all been jacked with. I mean, they're all doing it. The real estate, the governors, the corporation, they all work together just to keep us in the fucking controlled and contained while they all do their own thing and fucking making us sick all the time. And I know that they're watching and seeing like who runs to the doctor, who's really taking care of themselves. Because I heard that was part of the big social experiment on this. They wanted to see how many people would get scared and put these on, how many people get scared and put those. They just want to see how many people will react to fear. How can they control us with fear? And then the people show them. But that's really coming from inside the people. And so then the people have to go to this other side of it so that they can see the side of fear that they don't see right now, so that they can heal it. Because you can't have fear if you know you're eternal. What is there to fear? There's nothing to fear. If you know that you're eternal, nothing can hurt you. If you realize, you know, that you are, I mean, it's like we're a shadow. You can't hurt a shadow. So, like, there's nothing that can hurt us. It's all in our heads. It's mind play. It's how they interfere. It's how they distort the truth by keeping us in this, and how they, you know, keeping you in fear keeps you on cortisol and keeps you on your hormones and stuff. That's why so much of this is about the mastery, because that's something that they are, you master it, then they aren't just like waving you around or something. Because that is essentially like what they're doing with people, is just taking them and just waving them around. And the people are just unstable. Like they're everything inside of them is just all whacked out. And man, there's no telling. Like, I bet you there's just labs where they're just taking people in and checking and doing all sorts of stuff on them, you know. Like, it's so sickening, especially just to find out, like, the fentanyl strain doesn't damage your organs. So all these people who are dying from that, they're just being, another word you can't talk about. So, anyways, to me, it's all coming to the surface. The other thing I saw was another guy. Okay, so this is Monday, and Friday's going to be the 3rd. And then Monday, I think, is the 6th. See, Friday the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, so Monday would be the 6th. So, this guy, okay, so this guy that I had seen yesterday, he said from the 6th to the 9th, that the planets, the way, he was talking something about astrology. He didn't go on and explain it all, but he said from the 6th to the 9th, the people's experience is going to be very different than what they're experiencing. It's like it's going to flip. And so I don't know what he was talking about. Like, I know that everything's going to flip. Like, I know that part. I've been saying it for a long time. But I don't know, the date or how or what's going to lead to it or anything. That is all, like, what we're witnessing and watching, because it's all already going to happen. Like, I just saw this girl, this spiritual girl, and she's like, we did it, there's quite a few of these ones. They're so excited because they're all, we changed the energy, we've got more people awakening or something like that. And it's funny to see, because like I keep saying, and I don't know if it makes sense, but I'll say it again, is how it was always going to happen that way. It always will happen the way it's going to happen. And so it's just funny to see, like, oh, yay, it happened. Well, it was always going to happen. But, it's also that part of it is the happening. So that part has to exist, but it's just funny how that works. But anyways, let me think now what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. And so that other guy, he was talking, I don't think his was astrology. His was something. I don't remember. The one that said that, I swear I can't remember where he was getting his information, what he was basing it on. The guy who said that this Friday, he thinks the Wall Street's going to crash and that the banks will close and stuff like that, but it'll be the weekend. And so then everything's going to go crazy on Monday. But then right now we have the judicial is talking about if they're going to reinstate. So I don't know how long that happens. Like, if they're going to reinstate, do they do it instantaneously? Because all of these things are going to happen, like, I think super fast. Like, he's going to be back. The money thing's going to switch. Oh, yeah, I was going to say something else about that looking glass thing. Because the looking glass thing, oh, yeah, I did say that. Because it was, so they had all these people who were able to, they were using the looking glass. The other side, they had access. They were using, I've seen this talked about even on that other guy's channel. And so this could be where this person was talking about it from. But they had the looking glass, and they were, but all they kept seeing was past 2023. They don't keep going after this year. That the awakening happens. So and that that's what they kept trying to flip things back, to change things, but no matter what they did, it kept having the same outcome no matter what. And so they're all running scared because they don't know what's going to happen. Like, we're running scared because we don't know what's going to happen. Like, and then plus, the earth is changing. But the earth is on our side. As long as we're on her side, she's on our side. The problem is that there are some people who are not on the nature side. They're on the artificial world side, and they haven't pulled free from that. And, there's going to be, all sorts of people are still going to be passing. at this time. But I'm just saying, for the people who are connected and healing and all of that, like around me where I have all these trees, you know, and the wind starts going, I have to just keep, it will start making me feel panicky. It'll start, you know, I'll see this tree swaying and I'll just be like, oh my God. I can even feel what it would feel like crashing down and stuff. I've been in someone's house where it has crashed down. Not while it was crashing, but after, you know, and seeing like the damage and stuff. I've seen the damage on TikTok. Like it's freaking brutal. And so, you know, I start panicking as soon as the wind starts going, knowing that my poor trees are all out there just barely holding on. And, but I do know that it would be, you know, that I'll be protected somehow. Like the other day, it was just windy, windy, windy. Swear to God, it's like a stab all of a sudden. I've been seeing so many people saying that too. Like all of a sudden they get really disrupted. Something will happen, like just the energy is trying to hold on to what was. But and then Stella went in the bedroom, and I went in the bedroom, and I thought, oh, see, like that's the kind of thing that would happen if a tree was going to crash in the house. It would all of a sudden be, I would be in another room or something. But I think that, I don't know, I feel like my trees would protect me, and I wouldn't, because I'm here for something else. But if it was, and one fell on me and I was gone, it would be because that was my way to go to the other place. Because I still know, no matter what, that's what I'm headed to, is this Age of Aquarius time, because that's been shown to me over and over. I mean, that's like the only thing I can see. And it was about that, and about the time, and about where we're headed. And, you know, I'm not meant to see all of this stuff, because it is, you know, traumatic and stuff. Like, just knowing, you know, this whole landscape is going to change over here. And just knowing all the trauma is going to happen in California, and not knowing it, if it's going to be instantaneous. It's like, you know, I just know. I mean, it's some bad stuff. We still got a lot of bad stuff to go. A lot of tragic things are going to happen. And it's all about the transformation. And if you are a part of the transformation, if you're carrying that energy, then you will be a part of that transformation. Like, there's nothing to fear. This is my whole point about it. Like, you know, even though there's so many scary things, fuck, man, every fucking thing you eat, every fucking thing, every time you take a breath, Jesus Christ, I'm sick all the freaking time. Never around anybody. And never, like, I haven't been sick in so long, but I'm sick every fucking day. With a cough, stuffed up nose, can't breathe, aching joints, all of that stuff that, you know, where people think that they've got something and run in and get a test and get all, I don't know. I really just hope that these two guys are right. You know, I mean, I know the planets are coming into line. I've heard a lot of stuff about that, about the planetary thing, the universal action that is happening for our expansion and our change. But I just hope that this is the week, even though it's going to be so traumatic and horrible. It's like, just being horrible and traumatic, going like this, just slowly fucking killing us all. Like, that's traumatic too. And then just watching people be oblivious to the fact that's what's happening around them. Just seeing people out walking, you know, and all of this stuff, what's in the air, and seeing little kids. Like yesterday, I saw my neighbor going out, and he's taking his dog and his two little girls on a walk, you know, totally normal thing. And just being like, oh my God, the chemicals that they're breathing in. Knowing, I mean, there's states that have put out that you need to stay in your homes. I think one of them was Virginia or Michigan or someplace. There was something that was all over everything, and they were like, oh, we don't know what it is, this gray fog, and we don't know what's going on, so everyone stay in your homes until we know more. It's like, everybody needs to stay in your homes because they're drenching us with fucking poison right now. Like, they're trying to wipe us out. They want to keep control, and it's just dastardly, man. It's like, no matter what, they just don't stop. It's like they just keep going and going and going. It's like they just don't give up, man. fight to the last dying breath. But that is going to be, man, and there's a lot of people are not expecting to be on that chopping block. And that list, I think, is going to be long. Man, just that pharmacist attitude, just the way she thought, like, how dare this woman, like, man, I know I've seen a lot of people saying, you can't just keep saying you're taking orders. And that's the truth. You're not, no. You can't say, oh, I'm taking orders. Yeah, but you knew what was happening. You knew that there was things happening. And I don't know about their oath, if they have an oath. But a lot of these people are going against their oaths. So I think a lot of their stuff is going to come back on them. And anyways, you know, I still have all these things just swirling around in my head. But I'll just keep going and saying all these different things. But, you know, basically, you can see everything is definitely heating up and everything is getting crazier. And that, you know, the importance of staying safe. And I just hope that this is the week. But there will be such huge things that will go so fast. The change in power, the change in money, the change in medical. That's the one I'm going to be the first one in line. Well, the first chance I can get in a line on that med beds. I'll go in and be experiment for a while. I know that those have been well tested, but to the regular people that are coming out of all of this trauma that is being so much like, well, we thought we could trust this. We thought we could trust this. We thought we could trust, you know, they're going to be kind of scared. But there's going to be a lot that are going to be pushed into, you know, if you want to survive, you better get in this slow machine over here. And, you know, so it will pick up steam. But I think there's going to be, you know, a lot of people are going to be just kind of scared of it at first. So I'm going to be jumping on board right away as soon as they start opening those up. And then there's going to be, I don't know, it's kind of, it makes me wonder if, like, the lights are going to go out, and by the time they come back on, we're not going to be on electricity anymore. We're going to be on free energy, because I know we're moving into free resources. So anyways, you know, we'll see. I mean, I think this week is going to probably have a lot of stuff happening. And, you know, probably there's lots and lots of people getting really sick. You know, Ohio and all sorts of stuff all around there. Like, man, there's just a lot. So I would think this week is going to be intense. So stay safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.